Hi everyone, this is Gina. Welcome to my channel. I really appreciate you stopping by and joining me today. Today I'm doing something which for some reason I've been very nervous to do. I keep putting it off and putting it off, and I don't know why. I'm really nervous, but I'm making this journal, and it's a kind of a hardcover journal. I've done soft covers before, but I wanted to try doing this, and as you can see, I kind of already got a head start. I thought, well, let me try to make one first and figure out what I'm doing. But the process is kind of long, and I thought, let's just do this together. So what I want to do is catch you up on what I've done so far. So this is the box I started with. I picked this box because the cardboard is really heavy duty. And as you can see, we eat lots of pancakes. And I put these aside to save for journals. The first thing I did was opened it up. Okay, and that's just opening it up. And for this box, you can tell it was glued right here. So I just opened it like this. Opened it all the way. So here is the outline of my little book. And it's got the spine right here. And I liked how the ridges were. I decided to keep those simply because I thought it would add a little more sturdiness to the edges and make them a little stronger. For the next step, I got a cutting mat and I laid down my ruler and I made sure that I covered the ridge all the way down, and then I just took this little knife and I just cut. This one's not very heavy duty, so it took a couple of passes. I didn't push down real hard. There's no need to do that. You just, use a steady hand and go all the way back and just make a couple of passes until it cuts all the way through. So I did that all the way around, which left a book this size. There's my spine. Okay, and here are all my little extra pieces. There is an additional piece that you don't see because what I did with that, it was a long piece. It was one of these pieces on the edge, and I glued it down in the center. I just thought that might be a good idea. Since I'm going to be sewing into it, I thought it wouldn't hurt to just reinforce that spine. Now the next thing I did was I picked my paper and then I cut and glued on my papers. Now, I guess you could cut one and go all the way across. I didn't do that on this one. I cut each panel separately, and I left a lot of room at the edges. I started on the front, and to glue down the paper, I used Fabri-Tac. It doesn't make my paper warp or anything, so I thought that might be the best idea. The paper I used on the outside is thicker. These two designs came from Tim Holtz Ideology, Paper Stash, an orderly pile or heap of papers. There it is right there. I decided not to do the whole covering. First of all, the paper wasn't wide enough because this comes out to be just about 13 3/4 inches. So your 12-inch paper wouldn't cover the whole thing anyway. The other thing is I realized, especially on the inside, if it was all one color or all one paper, it would be hard for me to distinguish where the spine was when I came time to make my holes and then line everything up. I thought it would be easier visually if I used a different type of paper. And I'm glad I did that because I think that's going to help me out a lot when I get to that step. Now this paper was pulled out of this one, which you've seen me use a bunch of times. Every time I glued one down, I would cut off the excess. And that did take a little while, but I think that was the easiest way for me to accomplish that. It may not be, and for those of you who are experienced, please let me know if there was a better way to do that. So I have caught you up. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm going around all my edges and making sure that they're glued down. You don't want your papers coming up or having a loose piece and something catching it and ripping it. But I'm using like this little pokey tool, and just going through And if I can actually poke down inside of the paper, then I know it's not glued down. I've already done quite a lot, but I just wanted to go over this step because it's really important. You want it to make sure that all your edges are really sealed down well. See, there's a little bit right there. That's no good. Something could catch in that being on the edge and then totally rip this. And I don't want that to happen. So for this step, I'm using the Art Glitter Glue. I'm making use of this pointed tip, and I'm going in and just, if I can get the tip in there without tearing the paper, I'll stick it down as far as I can go. Look at that. Yeah, that was really, really open right there. Now this paper on the inside is much thinner than the paper I used on the outside. So I want to be careful if I'm sticking the tip in because I don't want to rip the paper. And this is a water-based glue, whereas the Fabri-Tac is not. So I got to be careful about that as well. So once I insert my glue, let's lay it down and give it a good smush. I come back with my bone folder and just really try to press it down. And be really gentle. It's thin paper and I've just put some glue in it. So, you know, you don't want to get too rough. If there's too much glue and your paper gets wet, it also could tear. So, oh, speak of the devil. Just like that. Look at that. I probably overglued it. So I'm going to see if I can try to spread it back out. Push it back the way the way that it came. There we go. Oh, whew, okay. Crisis averted. I think that's got it. And you can kind of see it, but honestly, it's brown paper, and before it's all over, I'm going to go over and ink the edges anyway, so you won't be able to tell, but I'm going to let that be still. I'm not going to mess with it anymore. But that's what I'm doing now, just going around making sure that all of my edges, outside and inside, are really glued and secure. Alright, if something grabs my attention further on down the road, I will address it then. But for now, I think everything is pretty well glued down. The next step is working on our signatures. I had already put 3 signatures together. However, they've only got maybe 6 or 7 pages in them. And I want to have at least 10, maybe more, I'm not sure. I have a feeling some of the ephemera and things I want to add in may be a little bulky, so I don't want to fill it up completely. I want there to be plenty of room to add some fun tags and some ephemera that has some substance to it. But I do think I can do better than that, so I want to add some more. What I've already got is a lot of coffee dyed paper. There is this little pack that has paper with all these little dots on it, and some more coffee dyed paper. And my last trip home, I was able to get my hands on this old typing paper. I mean, look at that. Isn't that great? It's medium weight, whatever that means. It's 25% cotton, so it has a really interesting texture to it, and I really like it. So I've got some of that in there. Just some more pieces of coffee dyed paper. But I want to look at what else I can add. So in addition to this, I might add some more of this. This is the pad that came with that paper that has all the dots on it. I got that from Ollie's. I also got this from Ollie's, and it's parchment. It's 24 pound, and it looks like this. So that's really cool. I have some in there already, but I may go ahead and add some more. I got this at Ollie's as well. It is vellum, and the vellum has different patterns, so I thought that was fun. I also have this book. It has just really pretty pictures, and it has some interesting writing. So I may pull that. I already had folded a couple of pages a long time ago. Like I said, I've been putting this off for a long time. So I may actually use those. I've torn some sheets out of some books. They just have white on the back, but I may use some of those. And of course, I have more coffee dyed paper and some envelopes. So I'm going to pull from all of this and anything else I can think of to add to my signatures. So I am going to start building on my signatures, and this part may be sped up because it just takes a while to figure out where you want to put things and what fits right and making decisions like that. So hopefully it'll be useful, especially if you're new like me to putting together a journal. But otherwise, just feel free to fast forward through this part. Okay, so I pretty much got them together, and I did a little additional trimming on the edge. And then of course I noticed that I might have some trimming to do on the top as well. So I kind of packed all my papers down for now so that they're even and flush on the bottom, so I could see just how much additional part at the top that I need to take off. I'm actually going to go to my paper cutter and cut the tops off. All right, I'm back. Let's check that and see how it looks. Okay, there we go. That's more like it. I think everything pretty much fits inside. If it pokes out just a little bit, I'm not too worried about it. But adding the extra sheets, I like how this is looking. It's plenty of room to add tags, and if I get a little bulky, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. I don't feel like I'm ready to sew them in yet. As I was working on it, I noticed a couple of things. I feel like I need to put some washi or something over some of the creases just to make sure that it's in there well, it's not going to rip apart, and just want to strengthen some of those folds. And I also have an idea of something that I might add. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it yet, so I need to think on it just a minute. But I will probably go ahead and do a little bit of mending, checking the seams and checking the folds just to make sure they're secure. So I'm going to do that first, but I'll probably do that off camera. You don't want to watch me do that. So I think I'm going to wrap it up for this session. This will be a continuing, probably a little short series, and some of them may be more of a craft with me as I'm going through and maybe adding pockets, and definitely I can use some of the ephemera that I've already made, but I'm sure I'll need to make some more. So I appreciate you joining me, and I hope you stick around for this series. I've been really nervous to start this, but I am determined to see it through, and I just hope that it turns out to look and work and function as I imagine that it will. That's always the goal. But thanks again. If you enjoyed this video, please give me the thumbs up and leave a comment. Do you have suggestions? I am absolutely open to hearing your thoughts and your suggestions and ideas. Maybe between all of us, we can get this journal made and it will look fantastic in the end. So please do leave a comment. Thanks so much. And that's going to be it for this one. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.